All right, this video is a little longer. I'm going to talk about Sam Bankman-Fried and everything that's going on with FTX. Now, don't believe that today's woke ESG virtue signaling champions are simply hypocrites and shysters? Well then, I give you Exhibit A. Sam Bankman-Fried, the founder of collapsed cryptocurrency exchange FTX. In a recent interview, he revealed that the wokeness that he and his company projected was, in his words, a dumb game. In the interview, Bankman-Fried confessed that the fake window dressing of altruism was mostly a front, and that the performance was done so everyone likes us. Not sure that I would classify the sentiment of investors as liking you, Sam. The Democrats, on the other hand, you donated to during the midterms, they love you, baby. Now, for those of you who've not been following our wonder kid, FTX CEO Bankman-Fried saw his company collapse on election day. The 30-year-old also saw his net worth of nearly $16 billion get wiped out. A far cry from the previous week when FTX's brainchild was the world's second largest cryptocurrency exchange, having been valued at $32 million back in February. However, as the song goes, that was yesterday when Sam's trouble seemed so far away. But last Friday, the digital coin exchange filed for bankruptcy after rival Binance abandoned their takeover bid of FTX. Easy come, easy go, I guess. But not so for investors, by the looks of it, as between $1 billion and $2 billion of their funds reportedly vanished just like monkeypox from the FTX cryptocurrency exchange. Investigations into FTX have been launched by the Securities and Exchange Commission and the Department of Justice. Correct me if I'm wrong, but wasn't it the same Securities and Exchange Commission that gave Sam IM the original green light? Now, you would think that the SEC would have done tons of due diligence, right? Given Sam Bankman-Fried was a Democrat mega donor. Just how mega was he? Well, he's not mega, but mega. Well, SBF reportedly contributed more than $5 million to Joe Biden in the 2020 presidential campaign. Wonder if Joe remembers. He was the second biggest individual donor to Democrats in the 2021-2022 election cycle, donating $37 million. In May, Bankman-Fried said he planned to donate north of $100 million to Democrats in the 2024 presidential election, but pledged to have a soft ceiling of $1 billion in donations to Democrats if the other MAGA guy, former President Donald Trump, decided to run again. SBF became the biggest donor to the Democratic Protect Our Future PAC political action committee that only launched in May as well. Gabe Bankman-Fried, SBF's brother who handles the billionaire's political operations, declared that the PAC was formed to stop the next pandemic. In February, the dynamic duo gave a $5 million grant to ProPublica to financially support investigations into ongoing questions about the COVID-19 pandemic, biosecurity, and public health preparedness. ProPublica might want to also add crypto fraud to that list. They say you can tell a lot about a person by the company they keep. Well, some of Sam's friends were the World Economic Forum, which up until last week was still promoting FTX on their website. In May, SBF was one of the featured speakers at the World Economic Forum 2022 in Davos, Switzerland. Makes sense, given his commitment to tackling important things like sustainability, diversity, equity, inclusion, cryptocurrency, stealing, theft, out. Then in September, SBF was a featured speaker at the annual meeting for the Clinton Global Initiative. That's Bill and Hillary, in case you didn't know it. The event covered subjects such as vaccine development, the implications of climate change, and transforming philanthropy for equity, justice, impact, and personal enrichment. I kind of added the last one, given it's Bill and Hillary. Our ESG darling, SBF, is slated to be a featured speaker at a summit hosted by the New York Times on November 30th, along with BlackRock CEO Larry Fink, New York City Mayor Eric Adams, and Ukrainian President Vladimir Zelensky. Tickets for the event cost $2,499 per person. He's in good company. Fine bunch of narcissists, a lot of them. Hopefully he collected his speaking fee in advance. He's going to need it. SBF claimed he was an effective altruist. Of course, claiming and being aren't the same, but that didn't stop corporate media from gushing his praises. In fact, they went out of their way to deify him, Folks like Jim Cramer, CNBC investment personality, lauded SBF as the JP Morgan of our generation. Confirming that Kevin O'Leary isn't God, even though he thinks he is, the Shark Tank celebrity investor previously said of FTX, if there's ever a place I could be that, I'm going to get in. If ever there's a place I could be that I'm not going to get in trouble, it's going to be at FTX. Not to be outdone, CNBC reporter Kate Rooney touted SBF as the Michael Jordan of crypto. Oh, you mean he liked to gamble like Mike, except in his case with other people's money? If you follow Bloomberg, how could you think that SBF shouldn't be knighted, especially after reading such gushing commentary about the FTX founder? Sam Bankman-Fried drives a Corolla, sleeps on a beanbag, and has a Robin Hood-like philosophy. However, looks like the cat's out of the bag. And as it is with all shams, as SBF, and it's all been a sham, as SBF admitted, masquerading as a woke Westerner. In a new interview, SBF confessed that the virtuous appearance was just an appearance, all designed to ultimately win the game. Vox, with a V, reporter Kelsey Piper, who interviewed SBF through direct messages on Twitter, said to the former FTX CEO, "You were really good at talking about ethics for someone who kind of saw it all as a game with winners and losers." SBF responded, "Yeah, I had to be. It's what reputations are made of. To some extent, I feel bad about those people who got effed by this dumb game we woke Westerners play, where we say all the right shibboleths so everyone likes us. Not all of us play this game, SBF. To some of us, virtue and integrity mean something." When asked if his ethics stuff was mostly a front, SBF replied, "Yeah, I mean, that's not all of it, but a lot. You mean like 99.9% front and 0.01% ethics stuff?" In the summer, SBF said the company should not engage in unethical practices. However, when pressed by the Vox reporter, he admitted, "Man, all the dumb shit I said." I'm sure his legal team is thinking, he did say companies shouldn't engage in ethical practices. Nothing about its owners, so no harm, no foul, right? Speaking about investors focusing on environmental, social, and governance, ESG, he declared, ESG has been perverted beyond recognition. Not sure about that, SBF, given its purpose all along was to use institutions and corporations in implementing policies that government simply couldn't impose due to their unpopularity and the fact that they weren't passed as laws. SBF exclaimed, "F regulators, they make everything worse. They don't protect customers at all." Well, he should know, given he had the blessing of the SEC and Democrat lawmakers such as Maxine Waters, and also gave these fine-said folks advice on cryptocurrency. SBF said it was never his intention to squander away investors' money, but sometimes life creeps up on you. "I effed up big, multiple times," he added. SBF said his biggest regret was FTX filing for bankruptcy. He believes that everything would be 70% fixed right now if he hadn't declared bankruptcy. He calls the bankruptcy his biggest single F-up. I can see that. It's only the filing that brought things to light. If he hadn't done that, the illusion charade would have continued. Not forever, but at least for the time being. Bankman-Fried said if he could do it all over again, he would have been more careful. He would have more careful accounting and separated his hedge fund Alameda Research from FTX. Well, there's always a next time, Sam. In order to clean up the spill on aisle 7, John Ray III, a bankruptcy expert with more than 40 years of restructuring experience and who liquidated Enron, was appointed CEO of FTX. In a filing with the U.S. Bankruptcy Court for the District of Delaware, Ray said, "Never in my career have I seen a complete failure of corporate controls and such a complete absence of trustworthy financial information as occurred here." Well, at least SBF killed it at something. In the Bahamas, I understand that corporate funds of the FTX group were used to purchase homes and other personal items for employees and advisors. Ray wrote in a 30-page document, "I understand that there does appear to be documentation for certain of these transactions as loans, and that certain real estate was recorded in the personal name of these employees and advisors on the records of the Bahamas. SBF is reportedly selling his Bahamian commune penthouse dubbed the Orchid in the exclusive private community of Albany located in Nassau for $40 million. Wonder if they would take crypto for that. My own take on this story is that SBF was either an unwitting or witting useful idiot in a multi-pronged scheme. First, when you look at the donations that he made politically, they're basically all Democrats. He was crystal clear in his distaste of Donald Trump and his commitment to spend other people's money into oblivion to see he never assumed power again. Second, given he was given the blessing of the SEC and the Democratic lawmakers, they knew what he was up to. So my guess is it was no surprise to them when the fraud was exposed. In fact, it was exactly the pretext they needed to create a new agency to regulate digital currency through their affiliate, the banking industry, and push towards a digital dollar period. Remember, folks, digital dollars not only allow them to see what you spend your money on, but more importantly, turn off the tap at a whim. Think truckers' convoy. Third, there certainly seems to be links to Ukraine, which is shaping up to be a giant slush fund accessible to left-of-center parties and politicians. In fact, our friend SBF, like Zelensky, was on the cover of every magazine as the poster boy for the woke, virtue-less virtue signalers. Of course, none of this would likely be coming to light, and the corporate media would be doing their utmost to bury the story if it weren't for the sea change in the US Congress, along with a somewhat more unbiased Twitter. With the Republicans at the helm of Congress and being led by a larger America First contingent amongst the Republican lawmakers, light may finally be shed on this as well as other political overreaches and conflicts of interest during the tenure of the Biden administration. Let the games begin. Anyway, thanks for watching. I know this was a little longer than usual. Hopefully I did this story some justice. If you're new to the channel, please check out some of the other videos. And if you haven't subscribed yet, subscribe, and I'll see you next time.